Hi there, welcome to this Next.js 15 project. Okay, so let's continue from where we left. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so I made some few changes. So the middleware was kind of giving me a problem. So I switched back to the old one that we're doing. Okay, so this one. Okay, so I listed the route access here. And in here, I created the matches using the route matcher, quick route matcher from Clerk Next.js server. Okay, so I get the allow rows, and now when I get the user ID and the session, I check. Now, because when patients register first, their row will be empty, right? So I needed to fix that issue. That was what was giving the problem first. Okay, so first I will check that if the ID exists and the session or the row, user row exists, right? So if the ID and the row exists, then that's fine. Then we take the row of the person logged in, right? But if the session does not exist and it's only the user ID, meaning it's a new patient, right? Then we set the row to patient. However, if the ID does not exist and the row does not exist, right? Meaning the person is not logged in, then we set the row to sign in. Okay, so we create the routes, matching route. Then we check. So if the row, right? If the route that you're trying to access exists, but the row does not match, right? It does not include. So you see that we've listed the rows here, people who can access that particular route. So if it does not match, then you'll be redirected to the respective default page, right? Okay, so if it does not match, if I'm a patient, I'm trying to access the admin route, I'll be redirected to the patient dashboard, right? Therefore, if I am not logged in, right, since this row, does not match any, you'll be redirected to the login page, right? Okay, but if it matches, then you are allowed to continue. Okay, so these are the changes I made. I'll keep this in a report for you to get it. Okay, great. Also, I did one thing here. Now, because when new patients register, their row will be now until we set it, right? In order to avoid error, I set the default to patient. So once the person is logged in and it does not exist, then it means it's a patient. Because we will be creating the staffs, right? The doctors, so we'll set them when we are creating it. Okay, so I also made this change, so don't forget it. And also now when you come to this page, that is the we'll say the landing page or the home page, right? Okay, so I also imported this and that, right? And I'm using the redirect from Next navigation, right? And if the user ID exists and the row exists, right, then I want to push the user to their respective dashboard, right, using the row. Okay, so I think here we can also even change this to say / then row. Okay, great. So if the user is logged in, then we'll redirect the user. Okay, I did this so that we don't have to bring the user back to the dashboard for the user to click on go to dashboard again. However, I'm also keeping this should in case it happens so that you can click on this to go to the dashboard. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so this is what we have now, right? I can visit these pages, I believe. Okay, I can go here. I can also go to sign in, right? Okay, so I'm going to log in as a patient using Google. So if I click on this, let's hope it works. Great. So now you see that I am redirected to the patient dashboard. So even if I try to go back to the home page, let's try and see. I'll come back to the dashboard. Let me try going to the admin, and still I'm being redirected. Let me also try doctor, and I'm redirected back to the patient. But if I go here, access here, if I go here and I add patient to this, okay, if I add patient, meaning now the patient can also access the admin route. Let's go check and see. Okay, let me reload it and now try to go to admin. Yes, now you can see I can go to the admin dashboard. Okay, so I'll just remove this. Okay, great. So now let's see, and now I'm redirected. Okay, great. Okay, so now these are the changes I made. Okay, great. Let me close all of them. Okay, so now in the layout here, there are certain things that are common, right? In this layout, there are common things like the sidebar and the navbar, right? Okay, so I would like to put them here. That's why I have this layout, so that all the pages for admin and this, they have that common feature of the sidebar and the navbar, so that they will share it. That's why I have this layout. Okay, great. So let's work on that layout. Okay, so first I will put a div here, and inside that div I'll have the sidebar. Okay, let me comment it for now. Okay, then after this sidebar, I will also have another div. And inside that div is where I'll have the navbar. Also not ready, so I'll comment it. Then, so this will be on the left, and the right will take this two, and the right will take the navbar and the children, right? So, okay, so I'll put the children in another because I want it to take the full screen of what will be left, right? Okay, so let's provide some classes. So this will be a width of full and the height of screen. Great. And I want to have a background color of gray dash 200. Okay, great. Okay, yeah, it's working. Great. And in this here for the sidebar, we also have the width to be 14%. Okay, so we can also use percentages here, right? And if you hover over it, you see it will take 14%, right, of the screen. Okay, so 14%. That is, normally you take 14%, and on medium screen we want the width to take 8%. Okay, so normally it will take 14 on medium. It will take 8. Okay, and on LG, okay, on LG it will take 16. Okay, and on Excel the width will take also will take the same 14. Okay, so normally we take 14 on MD, we want it to be 8, and on LG 16, and Excel of also 14. Okay, that is for the, oh sorry, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be for the sidebar. Okay, great. And for this and the navbar, I think we can modify this to take 86. Okay, so this plus this will give us 100, right? Okay, great. So when this takes 14, this will take 86, and when this take 8, this will take 92, and when this takes 16, this will take 84, and 14 also to 86. Okay, and I want this one to have a background of, okay, to have a color of this color. Great. Okay, so I also want it to be flex, and a flex of color. Okay, great. Okay, so this one will be on top and this down. Okay, great. Let's also provide classes for this. I want this to have a height of full. Right, okay, height of full. Width of also full. Pattern of 2. And overflow of overflow Y of scroll. Okay, great. Then the children will be inside it. Okay, so let's see what we have. So this is what we have. Okay, so inside the component, I'll create sidebar.tss rafc. Okay, so this is possible if you have this is possible when you have the ES7 plus extension installed. Okay, great. So I like to have it like this. Okay, great. Oh, I'm sorry, I imported from React Native. Okay, great. Okay, sorry. So now I can import this one here. Okay, from components. Okay, so if I put sidebar, okay, so sidebar is here. Okay, great. Okay, so I think we can also make this flex. Great. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so inside this sidebar, I'll first want to create the sidebar icon. Okay, so Now each one will have an icon, right? So I'm going to create the icon. The icon will be of type Lucid. I'm using Lucid React, so Lucid React icons. You can use any icon of choice. Okay, then I'll return the icon, giving it a class name of size to 6. Okay, so this one way you can set height and width at the same time. Okay, great. And on large, size of 5. Make sure this is also in bracket. Okay, great. Like this. Okay, so I just want to, we need to get the row of the user. So if you remember our U2 get row, right, to help us get the row, and I'll set this to be an async. Okay, great. We have the row, and I am just going to bring the nav links that I have, the side links, just to avoid typing. Okay, so these are the links that I have. It's a little bit long. Okay, so we have menu, right? And each menu will have its links, right? Okay, so an array, then there are objects that label as menu, then the menu has link, so dashboard, and dashboard will go back home. Okay, the reason is I am keeping this for all of the other users, right? So when you go back home, because we have that function there, it will redirect you to your appropriate dashboard. Okay, then I also want to bring the access levels. Okay, so I also created this. So assets level, or whenever it is for all of them, then I will use this to avoid typing them again and again. Okay, so the dashboard will be for all. Everybody will have a dashboard. Okay, so these are icons from Lucid React. So let me import. Okay, profile will be for only patient, right? Okay, so profile will be for patient, right? So we can also do it like this. Then patient, then we just pass this as self. Okay. Okay, then here, manage. Inside the manage, we have users, which will be for only the admin. The admin will see users and manage them. We have doctors, which will be for also only admin. We also have staffs, which will be for the admin and doctor can see them, right? And here, we also have patients, which will be for admin, doctor, and nurses, right? So you can add more rules according to your need, okay? So appointments, they'll go through this route. Okay, medical records, billing, patient management, okay, which is for nurses, and here also administer drugs, great. There are some of them I couldn't do it, but I'm leaving the links, so in case you want to work on them, then you know how to handle them. Okay. Okay, so logs and settings. Okay, so these are the links that we have. Okay, great. So now let's do the link. Okay, so in this div, let me give some classes. So class name, width of full. The reason I'm setting width of full is that we have the width set here. So we want you to occupy the entirety. Okay, width of full. Then I also want to give a pattern of 4. It should be flex column. Justified to between. Okay, and a gap of 4. Okay, a BG of white. Overflow to white to scroll. Okay, great. Now another div with class name. Let's have another one here. Okay. Okay, great. So inside this one, I'm going to make it also flex items to center and justify to center. Okay. And on LG, I want to justify to start. Okay, great. At a gap of 2. Okay, so inside this one, we will keep the, I'm going to put like a logo, right? Okay, so I'll just copy this logo, sorry, an icon, right? Okay. I think, okay, I have it imported. Okay, so let me give some styles. Okay, so I'll give padding of 1.5, rounded to MD, and background of blue -600. Great. Edit text of white. Okay, great. Let's check. Great. So we have this way. Okay. So maybe I can also give maybe min height of full. Let's go see. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so I have a kind of icon. So if you have any logo or thing, you can put it there. Okay. Then I'll also put a link tag. Okay, link tag coming from Next.js, and the href will be to go back to home. Okay. Then I'll just say kind of Schemas. Okay. Great. Okay, so I have it this way, and when I click on it, it goes back and I'll be redirected again. Okay, let me also give some classes. So I want it to be hidden on small screen. On LG, I want it to be flex, test of base, and on 2XL, test of XL, font to be bold. Okay, nice. For the icon, so just come one div below the link, right? Okay, and put another div. Okay. Class margin top of 4 and tests of SM small. Now let's map over the links that we have. Sidebar links, great, dot map. Okay, so I'll get each, I'll just call it EL as an item or element, yeah, anyone. Then I will instantly or immediately return a div. Okay, this div will have a key which will be the element dot label. Okay, and also class. The class should be flex of column, and a gap of 2. Okay, great. So inside this, we'll put the title, which I'll put inside expand tag, and the title will be the element dot label. Great. Okay, so if we check, yes, so we have it here, the labels. Okay, so let's give some styling. Okay, it should be hidden on small device, uppercase, and on LG it should be blog, invisible, test of gray -400. Okay, and the font of bold. Okay, margin bottom or margin Y, that's top and bottom of 4. Okay. Now below the span, now we are going to map over the various links, right? Okay, so I'll just say EL dot its links dot map. So I'm getting each link, and now I'll return. So now instead of instantly returning, I want to do something else. So here I will bring the return, right? And what will I return is I'll return a link component from Next.js. Okay, great. And inside the link, I will just put a span tag, which will accommodate the label, right? So it will be the link dot name. Okay, the link dot name, and here the href will be the link dot href. Okay, great. So let's check and see. So we have all the links here. Okay, great. So here, what I want to do is that now I want to check if the access level, right, includes what we have, then we'll return it. If not, then we will not return that one. Okay, so what I can do is say is that if link dot access, right, okay, dot includes, if it includes the row that we have up there, right, if it includes the row dot to lowercase, so I want to make sure that everything is in lowercase, right? Okay, great. I want to make sure because the rows that we have here are also in lowercase, so I want to make sure they're in lowercase. If it does, right, then we want to return this thing here, right? We want to return this. If it does not, then we don't even return it at all. Okay, so let's see. So now you see that I'm a patient, so it has reduced. Okay, great. So what we can do is now to style it. Okay, great. So I'll put this link here. This also needs a key, so I'll put a key, and the key will be link dot name. Yes, I think that's unique. Okay, let me also bring this down here, and let's give some classes. Okay, so I want it to be flex, items to center, justify to center. Come on, center, justify to center. Okay, on LG, justify to start. Okay, a gap of 4. Okay, a gap of 4. Test of gray dash 500. Pattern Y of 2 on MD. PX of also 2, and rounded to MD. And on hover, I want to have a BG of blue dash 600/10 for opacity. Okay, great. Okay, so this is what we have, right? You can see there's some light background when we hover over it. Okay, so now let's put the icon. So the icon we just call the sidebar icon that we created up, right? And now pass the icon. Okay, icon should be equal to links.icon. Okay, so I just want to change it to lower as icon to be icon. Okay, like this. So I'm just renaming it to big one, right? Okay, so that I don't think that this is important from somewhere. Okay, great. That's why. That's all. Okay, so here, let me also give some classes. Now on small devices, I want to hide the test, right? So that will show only the icon. And on LG, yes, it will be blocked. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have, right? If I go to small, great. So I'll only show icons like this. Great, right? On small devices, I'll show only icon, but on large, then I show the test. Great. There's also a logout button below. So let's just put logout button, which I'm going to log out button. Okay. Now, because this component is not on the client side, because I wanted to use async here, that's why it's not on client side. And you know that if I'm able to use this, then this is a server side. And you know, I'm able to achieve the interaction. I'm using the Next.js link. So if I use the button and the button click here, I'll have to turn it to a client component. Okay. But this we use a button. That's why I want to make it different, right? Okay. So I'll just create it here. It says log out button.tss. Okay, RAFC. Okay, so log out button. I think I can now import it gently. Great. So it is this. Now I have to turn this to use client. Okay, but for you to understand it well, if I don't turn it, what will happen? Okay, so here, what I will do is I'll just change this to button. And this button is coming from the UI component. That's the chat.cn component that we have. Okay, great. And the test, I'm just going to put a span that will say log out. Okay, and I'll give class. Okay, it should also be hidden on small screen and on LG block. Yes, and I also want to give an icon which is log out from, yeah, I think it's this, Lucid React. Okay. So if we go here, now we can see it here. Okay, great. Now, somebody will say that you haven't made this a client component and it is working, you know. Hold on. If I bring the onClick event, right? Great. And let's just save this and see if it will work or not. Great. Now you see that we have this issue, right? Because we have an interaction, we need to set it as a client component. So you just have to say use client. Great. And let's go back and see if it now changes or not. Okay, so now this is a client component and now we can click on it without any issue. Okay, so let's give some styling. I want the variant to be outline. Okay. Then the classes. I want the width to be fit, and I want it to be bottom of 0 and a gap of 2. Okay, gap of 2 and px of 0, and on MD on px of 4. Okay, let's see. Okay, great. This is how I want it. Great. So how do I achieve the sign out? So sign out, Clerk has ready-made functions and components also for us to use. So I'm going to say use Clerk from Clerk Next.js. Okay, and inside it we have the sign out. Okay, so I'll just bring the sign out here and just call the sign out. Okay, and we can pass redirect URL, right? Redirect URL, which will go to sign in page. Okay, we'll go to our sign in page. Okay, so I think we can try it and see. If I click on this, great. So I am redirected. Great. Okay, let me try to log in again. Great. So I'm here. So now that is our sidebar. Okay, so now let's work on our navbar. Okay, so we're done with this. Sidebar also completed. Okay, great. So navbar. So I'll also create another component. Okay, let me bring this here a little. Okay, so inside my component, I'll create navbar.tss, RAFCE, RAFC. Okay, I just say navbar. Okay, go back and import it. Okay, import the navbar. And let's see. Okay, navbar, it's here. Okay, so in the navbar, this will have some interactions. So to use client, okay, great. So here I want to get the path name, right? I want to get the path name. So one thing I can do is that I can use a function. So function format path name, and it will be a string, right? Yeah, the returning will be a string. So great. So I'll say cons path name equal to use path name. Great. Okay, so we are using these hooks. That's why I turned this to a client-side component. Okay, great. And I'm going to say if there is no path name, we will just return overview or dashboard. Okay, anyone, yeah, anything you want to return. But if it does, then we need to split the route, split route. Okay, so the path name dot split, and by what are we splitting? We're splitting by the /. Okay. Okay, we're splitting by that. And now I want to get the last index, which will be split route dot length, great, -1. And if it is greater than 2, then I will say 2. Else I will just say the split route dot length -1. Okay, so if the length of this, they are nested routes, so if the length -1 is still greater than 2, then I'll take the second one, which is the last one. And if it is not, if it -1 is not greater than 2, sorry, if it's not greater than 2, then I'll take the last one. Okay. Now I will say cons path name should be equal to, okay, so the split route, then I'll put the index. What was it? Last index. Okay. Then I'll put the last index. Great. So once I get it, I can now say cons formatted path to be equal to the path name. No, this path name. Okay. Dot replace. So I'm going to use replace to remove // -g, comma. Then I just want to remove spaces. Okay, great. I remove spaces. Now I can return the formatted path. Okay, great. So what I can do is this. I can just say cons path equal to format path name. Okay, that's all. Okay, great. So now I have the path here. Let me also get the user information. So I think I'll need it. So I'll just say user equal to use of from Clerk Next.js. Okay, so this one you can use it. It's a hook. You can use it from the client side. Brilliant. Okay, so let's work on our design. Okay, class name. I want pattern of 5, flex, justified to between, and a BG of white. Okay, so I'm going to do H1, which will take the path. And if it does not exist, I'll just say overview, as I said. Okay, so we can check. So now we are on the patient route, right? So patient. Okay, let's also start this. Test of Excel, font medium, test of gray dash 500, and it should be capitalized. Okay, great. Now let's have a div. Inside this div, we're going to say flex item center and a gap of 4. Okay, so another div with class, another div with class relative. Then I'm going to have a bell icon from Lucid React. Okay, then I also have a paragraph which will have like a notification, right? Okay, great. So let me start this. Absolute. We need to have absolute position, and top should be minus 3, right of 1, and the size of 4, BG of red dash 600, and the text will be white, rounded or full. Great. And the text should be I'm going to say 10 pixels. Okay, and the text center. Okay, let's try and see. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, great. So we have this here and that one here. Okay, so minus 3. Great, and I think I should fix it. Okay, great. So now another thing we can have, it's after this, we can put the user. If we check and user exists, right? If the user exists, okay, yeah, if the user dot or user ID is there, if we have it, then we can show the user button from Clerk Next.js. Okay, like this. Great, and you can see your information here. Great, great. So I think we're done with it. So now let's go to the patient dashboard here. Okay, but before we do that, let us try to do the registration so that the user can register. Okay, so I'll put inside the patient here, I'll put the registration slash pages.tss. Okay, so here RAFCE. Great. So I can say maybe new patient, anything. Okay, great. So when the user logs in or register first time, right, and the user does not have any information, right? If the user information does not exist, I want to redirect the user. Okay, I'll redirect the user. So I am going to say data, user data should be equal to now, right? Okay, right. And I'll just say if I also need to get the user information, so I'm just going to say cons user equal to await current user. Great, from Clerk. Okay, great. So if there is no if there is user, right, and the user has no data, okay, meaning that the user is registered though from Clerk, but we don't have the user information in a database, right? Okay, so all we have to do is to use the redirect from next navigation and go to the patient/registration page. so that the patient will register. Okay, great. Okay, let's go see. So if, okay, great. So now I am redirected, right? I'm in a new patient. Okay, great. So registration. Okay, so now let's go to this page. So here, I'm going to give classes as py of 6, px of 3, flex, and I justify to center. Okay, so now I'll create the new patient form here. New patient dot TSS RAFC. Great. New patient. Okay, and this will be a client side because we have a lot of interactions, test input, and those things. So I'll just come here. Let me change this to registration. Okay, so I can import the new patient form. Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, we have in the center like that. Okay, so now let's go here. So but before we get here, I want to pass the user ID and stuff. So I'm going to say cons user ID, great. Await auth. So auth from Clerk Next.js, and this to be async. Also, I can even get the data from, okay, so I'll say get patient data by ID. Okay, so this function does not exist for now, so I'll pass the patient ID. Okay, so I'll comment it out for now. Okay. Yeah, we'll use this, right? So that when we want to update the user information, we can update it. Okay, and we'll pass the data here, data to data. Okay, and I'm also going to keep type. Okay, so the type will be if there is no data, right? So for now, I can say const data to be null. So if there is no data, then it will be create, right? But if there is data, then it is update. Okay, I hope you understand. So if the data is null, meaning we want to create a new one, but if it exists, then we are updating the user information. Okay, so first things first, let's get the interface or types. Interface. Okay, interface. I'm just going to say data props. Okay, so I have data, which will be optional, and that will be patient from Prisma. And another one is the type, which is either create or update. Okay, so here I'll just get the data and the type, which is coming data props here. Okay, great. And now, yes, type script is satisfied. Okay. Okay, so also here we can get the user by using the use user from Clerk Next.js to get the user information. Okay, we also need some few states. So loading, set loading, which will be the use state. And in the beginning, false. We also need router from use router, and this one import from Next navigation. Import from Next navigation, not Next router. Okay, let me also get another state for should the user want to upload image. Okay, so I'm just going to say image URL, set image URL, and this one it's going to be now, but I want the type to be any. Okay, so now what we can do is that we can now get the user data. So first first name should be user dot first name or nothing. Okay, so this is coming from here. Okay, let me destructure this. Yes, great. Okay, so I want to get the user information, right? Okay, so if the user exists, we have to put the first name. So I can just duplicate this to last name. Yes. Great. And only things like the email. So email, if the email is also say user dot. Now in Clerk, email addresses, and inside the email addresses, they are an array. So the first one dot email. Okay. Or also nothing. Okay, great. And also if the phone number exists, we also want to get it like phone number dot to string, and I want to put it to string because I think it's numbers. So okay, so phone. Okay, I think it's phone numbers. Or also nothing. Okay, great. Okay, so these are the basic information I can take from the user. Okay, so now let's talk about our form. Okay, so here we're going to use card from ChatCN. Okay, so yeah, we installed it. So class name, max width of 6 XL and a width of full and a pattern of 4. Okay, great. Then now I'm going to add the card header, also from ChatCN, and inside it there'll be the card title. Okay, and the title will be patient registration. Okay, yes, good. So, and I hope you can see the card also. So after that, I will need the card description. And the description, I'm just going to put this there. Okay, so we're done with the card header. Now we can come to the card content. Great. Inside the card content, we will have a form, and this form, it's also coming from ChatCN. And here now we need to create a form instance. Okay, so let's come up here, and I'll just say const form equal to use form from React hook form dot infer. Okay, then we put type of. Okay, so type of patient schema. Okay, patient schema. Okay, then so the patient schema does not exist for now, so we'll do it shortly. Then I also put the resolver. Okay, the resolver will be Zod resolver. Okay, so Zod resolver, then also pass the same patient schema. Okay, then maybe I can also put default values. Okay, and default values will be the user data that we created, right? Great. So first let's go handle the okay, so let me import Zod resolver. So I'll say import from at hook form resolver. Okay, hook form resolver slash Zod. And now this should come from there. Great. Okay, so let's check on our patient form schema. Okay, so in the libs folder here, I am going to create a file called schema.ts. Okay, so here we'll need things like Zod, Z from Zod. Okay, I believe Zod is installed already. Yeah, because when we install the packages, we had Zod also installed. Okay, great. So that's it. So I will export const patient form schema. Great. Then it will be Zod, that's the Z object. Great. Then we'll list the various fields. Okay, so maybe I can just go here and import this one. Yes, this one. Okay, so let's go do it then. We'll come and check. Okay, so what are the various fields? So if you remember from the models that we created, okay, so here we'll have first name, which will be z dot, right? Okay, z dot string. Okay, and we want to trim of SS space. Should there be any SS white spaces? We want to trim it, so use trim. Okay, and I want the minimum minimum to be at least 2 characters. So if it does not exist, the first name must be at least 2 characters. Okay, that's right. And I also want to have a maximum. So maximum of 50. Is that ideal? Okay. Yeah, let's just say maximum of 50. No, I will put maximum of 30. Okay, so I can just copy all of this again and give it to this. I think they'll be same. So first name and last name, just now change this to last name. Okay, great. So also the minimum of 2 and maximum of this. Okay, so that's fine. Now date of birth. So date of birth will be z dot d dot co. Great, this one dot date. Okay, so it will be a date, and that's all. Okay, so the other one will be gender. Okay, so I'm going to say gender. So gender. Okay, I think I'm suggested something here. Gender will be enum, and if you remember, they were all capitals, so male or female. Okay, great. And if if it does not match, we'll give a message that gender is required. Okay, great. So we have the enums of male and female, and the message is gender is required. Okay, great. So I think I can just copy paste the rest, right? So, okay, so this is what I pasted. It's a little bit long. Okay, so phone number will also be a string. It will be minimum of 10 and a maximum of 10 digits, right? Okay, you can change them according to your need. Also, email will be a string, right? And it will be email. Address will also be a string, and a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 500. Marital status, yes, will also be this enum, right? And the message is this, it's required. Emergency contact name will also be this, and the number of the person also this. And the relation will either be mother, father, husband, wife, or others, right? And this is the message. And now we have here blood group, it's optional. That's why I have this optional here, right? Allergies optional, medication optional, medical history optional, insurance, all of these are optional. But here are the consent screens. So we say that privacy consent, it will be a boolean and the default will be false, right? And we use the refine to get the value and check if it is true. If we check the value and it is not true, we'll tell you that you must agree to the privacy policy, right? So you can send as false, it has to be true. Okay, so you can use this for any other purpose you want to achieve. And this is also the services consent and also the medical consent. Okay, and now we have the image, which is also a string and optional. Okay, great. So now we can come back here and continue. So here now we say that use form, which is from React hook form. Okay, dot. Okay, great. So yeah, great. So we need to make changes here. It should be this. Great. Then z dot. So sorry, z. Z. Okay, so I also need to import it from Zod. So import z from Zod. Okay, great. Okay, so we're using the hook form and we are passing the type of z zod.infer. Then the type will be this type of what we created. Okay, okay, great. So in here now we can spread the form that we have created, right? We can spread that form. Great. Okay, so now we need children. Okay, so in the children here we'll put the normal HTML form. Great. And this will have the onSubmit. Okay, so we'll put the onSubmit function later. And also let me put some classes, and the class will be space of y of 8 and margin top of also 5. Okay, great. So here I'll put an h3 tag that is the personal information. Okay, also I want the text to be LG, font of semi-bold. Okay, great. Now I'll put image picker here, but for now it does not exist, so I'll comment it out. then begin to flow with our forms. Okay. Here, let me also put this div class name, which will be flex column, LG, flex row, gap y of 6, items to center, gap of 2, and on MD, a gap x of 4. Okay, great. So now I am going to also have a custom input. Okay, this custom input will have the type, which will be input. It will also have control, which will be equal to the form.control. Great. We'll also have name, which will be first name, placeholder of also first name, or you can put any name there. Okay, and a label of also first name. Okay, so this will be our input component. So let's go to create that input component. Inside this same component, I'll put custom input.tss rafc custom input. Okay, great. Okay, let's first put the interface or types input props. Okay, so we said there will be type, and the type will be a lot of things, so I'll just bring it. The type will either be input, select, checkbox, switch, radio or text area. Okay, and the control will be control from React hook form. Great, and of type any. I'll just pass in any like this. Any. Great. There will also be a name, which is a string, a label, which is a string, placeholder, which is also a string, and input type. Yeah, okay, so the input type will also be, okay, so input type, okay, so I have input type, which will either be a text, email, password, or date. Then also the select list should in case it is a list, right? So the list, which is, and also default value. Okay, so here, what I'll do is that now I'll come here and just say props, which is of type input props. Okay, great. So in here now I can destructure from the props. I can destructure the name, the label, control, and type. Okay, these are the things I'll need for now. Okay, so here I'm going to change this to form field from, because we installed the forms from form component from chat.cn, so that's what we're going to use. Okay, and the form takes some props of control, which will be the control we have. It also take name, which will be name. Okay, then we need to render. Now we need to render the component itself. So here we'll get the field. Okay, then we need to return a form item, also from React, also from the chat.cn. Okay, great. So here, like this, form field has to be self-closing. Okay, great, like this. Good. So inside this here, let me give this class for now. So I will just say it should be width of full. Okay, great. So in here, I will just put this and say type. If type is not equal to radio, right, and type is also not equal to checkbox. Okay, so if the type is not radio nor is not equal to checkbox, right, then I'll just show form label from here. Okay, and the label will be the label that we have. Okay, so if it does, then we need to now to render the input itself, right, by passing the field, which will be equal to the field that we have distracted up there, and also the props of props. Okay, great. And we can also put the form message also from, yeah, great. So this one does not exist, so we need to create that one, and I'll put that one. I think I can put it here. So cons render, yeah, great. Okay, so I'm going to use switch case. Great. So switch case of the type will be the prop dot type. Great. So using the prop dot type, then we want to render according to which one we want to get. Okay. So here we'll have the field, and I also have the props. Okay. Great. And here, what I'll say is that the field is type any, and props is also input props. Okay, great. Okay, great. Like this. Okay, so now for case input, case input. Okay, so when it is input, I want to return. I'm going to return form control from UI. Okay, shout CN, and inside it, I will now put the input also from shout CN UI components. Right? Okay, great. Now inside this, we'll put the type, which will be props dot type. Great. And I'll put a placeholder, which will also be props dot placeholder. And I now will want to spread the rest of the props. Yeah. Here will be input type. Input type. Okay, so this one will be input type. Okay, so here I think I should spread the field instead. Great, this field. Great. Okay, so now if I go here to import it again, let's see. Great. If it meets the requirements, so we have types, control, name, all of this. Great. So now we can now safely check. So now we have this. Great. And now you can see that the name has been populated, right? Because we fetch it from the Clerk. Okay, great. Okay, so from here, I think it should now be a little bit simple because we have a lot of things done. Okay, so here, I'll just duplicate this one more time. This will also be input, but this time this will be last name. Last name. Not last name. Great. We can check now. We have this one here and this one here. Very good. Great. Now the next one, I'll just copy it like this. And below this div, I'll just put this. And that one will also be email. So I'll just say email. Great. So the type is also this. So the name is email here. Maybe I'll put John Doe at example.com. Okay. And here will also be email address. Okay, great. Should be fine. Okay, so now here, and I have my email already populated. Okay, great. Okay, good. So here, I think I'll have this one again. Okay, and I also want to put in one of this. I think even two, but this time this is going to be select. Okay, so this will be select. So the select here will also have the same thing, and the name will be gender, right? And here, placeholder. Let's say select gender. Okay, and here will also be gender. Okay, so now we need to pass the select list, if you remember. Great. And the select list. Okay, so I think I can create in here, I can create an index file where I can keep all of these things there. So I'll keep certain things like I'll just copy and bring them here. Okay, so I have things like gender, which is this, that, right? And this is also the marital status, label and value. Each one has label and value, relations, and also user roles here. Okay, great. So I will just import the gender. Great. Great. So I just pass this. Okay, and this second one will also be an input, and but this time this will be date of birth, date of birth, date of birth. Okay, I think that's okay. Great. And maybe here I can just put 01-01-1980. Okay, great. And the label will be date of birth. Great. And here I will pass the input type. The input type here is now date. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go see. Great. So now I have this. We don't have the select yet, but I have this here, which I can select date. Okay, great. So now let's go to the custom here, and now let's talk about how we can get the select box also done. Okay, so in order not to waste time, I'll just copy that. So this is the case for input. Okay, so here I'll also bring the case for select. Okay, so the case for select, I don't think I have the select. Okay, let me see. Okay, so in here I need to get the .cn select. So .cn. Okay, so the component, I'll search for select, rate, and this is it, npm. Okay, great. So I'll create a new terminal here and put it. Okay, great. Yes. Okay. I believe when you do this in the future, you will not have this issue of legacy.ps.add, right? Okay, so now I can import this select. Okay, so from UI select, and I'm also passing in the on value change. I'm passing the field, and the field has the on change, right? And the value also is in the field. Okay, and the form control, and here I'm also using the select trigger, which is inside the select. Please do not import from Radix, but UI. Okay, and also the select value or from UI, and I'll pass the placeholder here, right? And I'll do the select content, right? And now here is the action where I map over the props the selected list, right? The select list, I'll get the list and the ID, and I will now populate each select item by passing it value. Then I'll put the label here. Great. So let's see if we are making anything. Okay. Great. So now we have this here and we have these two lists, right? Great. Beautiful. Great. Okay. So we have that one also done. So we're again, great. So I think now we can just be doing copy paste. So now that we know the drill. Okay, so now also have another one here. Input, this will be phone, right? Phone number. And this will also be select, which will be the marital status. I just need to import that one also. Great. You can go see it. And now we have the phone and the marital status list here. Okay. The next one can be below this div. I'll put another one, which will be input of address and this. Okay, great. So now I'm going to bring another one here. Okay, so I have this one here. Okay, so this one, I am saying that family information, giving it the title family information, and now I have the emergency contact person and the number, and now the relation. So the relation will also be of type select, and I will bring the relations that I placed in that index file. Okay, great. You can see the progress. So now I have it like this. This is the address, this is the relation, and this is the okay, this also here. Okay, so I think there is an issue of overflow. Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, so relation. Now I will bring okay, I'll bring the last few things. Okay, so after this we also have this, which is Where did I start from? Okay, that's a bit long. Okay, so here I'm also having medical history, right? And this is also an input. You put your blood group, allergies, medical conditions, and please make sure that these names matches what we have in our schema. Okay, great. So these names, they match what we have in the schema. Okay, else the schema will not work. And this is also for medical history. And I also have this one here for the insurance, right? So if patient have insurance and the insurance number. Okay, so now I'll also do the consent screen. Okay, so I want to move this to where I have the address. Okay, so I want this one to be here. Okay, great. And this also to be one. Okay, so now, so after this, now I'll put a condition, and the condition will be that if it is not equal to update, if the type is not update, then we show the consent, right? But if it's update, there's no need because the user has already been registered. Okay, so this says consent. And here we are also saying, we are also using the same input. So how you can create reusable components, and the name is this, the label is that, and the placeholder this, and the type is now checkbox, right? Okay, so we don't have the checkbox. So if we go even to our page, we'll not see the checkbox because we don't have the checkbox. Okay. Okay, so how do we get a checkbox? Okay, so I'll also copy that. So after this, and put the checkbox here. So okay, I'm saying it's a checkbox, and I need to also install checkbox. Oh, I think I have it already. So checkbox from UI ChatScene component, right? And we're passing the ID as the name, and on change will be the field on change, right? And if it is true, then we set it to true, or else it will be now, right? Okay, then we have the label which will show the name, and the label itself, then we'll put the placeholder. The placeholder here is actually, I am using the placeholder to send the message itself, right? Great, as a placeholder. Okay, so that's it, and let's check. Okay, so now you have it this way, right? So this, yeah, great. And after this, what again is left? Okay, so we only left with a button. So here, now beneath here, we can now put our button. Great. And here we'll check the type first. If the type is equal to create, then we'll just put submit, else we'll put update. Okay, great. So here it will be disabled when it's loading. Disabled loading. Okay, so when we are submitting it, we want to disable the button. Okay, and the type will also be submit, and the class name of width of full, and on MD width dash fit. Okay, and PX of 6. Okay, so make sure the button is still within this form. Okay, so I guess we should be good. Great. So now let's go and check on the submit handler. Okay, so here, submit handler. Okay, we're supposed to pass it here. Okay, so we'll just remove this and just say form, right? So the form that we have has the handle submit inside it. Then we'll pass our onSubmit function that will create to it. Great. Okay, so let's come. Okay, where should we put it? Okay, we can put it here. So cons onSubmit, which is the name, right? And it will be type of submit handler from React hook form. Okay. They also put the type of infer, right? Great. Infer type of patient form schema. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so I have this. So now in here, the function will be an async. So let me just put it straight lest I forget. And we'll get the values from here. Okay, great. So in here, we can console log the values that we'll get and see. Okay, so now let's check. So if I click on this, great, now you can see all the validations are working. Beautiful. Okay, so if I put in anything, Now let me put a good something good. Select one of these, select here, 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 and here. I'm just putting in anything. Okay, I can leave this, and if I still submit, you see there's an issue. Okay, here, and if I put this now, I don't have any error, and I want to believe that we have the console. Okay, so object, and now you can see all the information here. Now the reason we're having this error here is that, you know, if the props change, it says that uncontrolled. Okay, so how we can solve that is by having default user values, right? Okay, so how we can solve that, we need to have default values, right? You know, all the other data fields, right? You know, let me show you something. Okay, so if you check something, if you see that if I type here, then I get that error, right? But if I type in this, I don't think I get that error. Okay, so what we need to do is that we need to list all the fields here in the default values, right? So I think we have these ones. So I need to give the address, which will be null. Okay, so let's go try it, right? So now I have the address. If I refresh and type in the address, I think I should not get that problem. Okay, so address here. Let's say if I type in, you see I'm not getting that issue again. But if I type here, I'm getting it. Okay, so one way that I want to do that is by having a use effect. Okay, let me try that. So I'm going to put a use effect here, which is a little bit long. I will import this from React. And I'm saying that if the type is create, right, you know, and I have the form data, right, I have this form that I have here because I want to get the user information. I want to call the form, if I have this, I want to call the form reset and spread this information. Okay, but if it is not that and it is equal to update, then I'll also reset the form and put all of these information inside, because by then we'll have the user. If it's update, we'll have the user information, the data coming in, right? Okay, and it is dependent on the data. If the user changes, we'll also change that. Okay. Oh, okay, so that thing is still not solved. Okay, so how I can do it is by having the other fields. Okay, so address, what again? Date of birth should be today. Gender, maybe default to male. And marital status, default should be, I think, single. Address, it's already there. Image, okay, great. Let's see if we're able to figure out the rest. I don't remember having family history. Okay, so this address, this is there. Relation. Okay, so I think I can have relation. Oh, relation is there. Relation, and I think all of this, I can just copy them. Let's see if it works. Okay, so here, if I type, okay, I still get it. So I think I need to do those things. Okay, so allergies will be nothing. Medical history. Okay, so medical history now. Okay, so just trying it. Medical history. Okay, medical condition, allergies, blood group. Okay, so here nothing. Okay, great. Here, okay, having contact. We have phone here. I think it's supposed to be small p. Okay, so phone. What is it? Wait, okay, here phone. Okay, great. Yeah, nothing. Okay, great. So I think it works now. Okay, great. So we're gonna look at how we can now save this information. Okay, so now that we have the form, let's look for how we can save it into our database. Okay, so we are going to use server actions. So in here, I'll create actions, then I'll put patient.ts. Okay, and we need to mark here use server. Okay, great. So here, what we're going to do is that we say export async function, create new patient. Okay, then we'll accept the data, and we'll also accept our patient ID. Here, let me put type in it for now. Okay. Okay, so now I'll put a try catch. Okay, and when error occur, okay, I'll just console log as well as return the error. Okay. Okay, I can also put this as here. Great. So here I will want to first validate the data. So I'll just say validate data equal to patient form schema dot, then I'll just say save pass, right? Okay, so save pass, then I'll pass the data. Okay, so this will return the data, right? Return the data and whether it is valid or not. So to get the, I'll just check that if the valid data, the success is true, meaning it's valid, right? So if the success is true, it's true or false. But if it is not true, then we just need to return. I'm going to put success to false, error to true. Okay, then I also put the message as a provide all required fields. Okay, great. But if it is successful, then we need to say cons. I can just say patient data equal to valid data dot data. Okay, great. So I want to get the data. Now I'm going to say let patient underscore ID equal to PID. Okay, so if you remember, I told you that the patient ID will be the ID from Clerk, right? So we'll first set it. Now we need to check that if the patient ID, right, is equal to new patient. So if it's new patient, we'll send the patient ID as new patient. If it's update, then we'll send the ID itself. Okay, so if it is new user, right? So if let's say the doctor or the admin is creating a new user, we need to create it as such. So we'll just say const client, right, equal to await Clerk client. Okay, like this. Then we just say const okay, so const user should be equal to await client dot users dot create user. Okay, now we have to pass the informations. Okay, so we'll pass email address, which is an array, so invalid okay, so patient data dot email. We'll also pass password, and by default the password will be the patient phone number. Yeah, you can use whatever you want, phone, and the first name will also be first name, last name will also be the patient data last name. Okay, then we need to also set the public metadata. So public metadata also be row to patient. Okay, so like this. Okay, then once we create the account, we can now set the patient ID to the user dot ID. Okay, great. So if we create a new patient, then we just change the ID. Okay, so yeah, great. But if it is not the case, that's else, then we'll just say await Clerk. Okay, so I think I can push this one outside, so I'll still use it here. So I'll just say client dot users dot update. Great. Then I'll put the ID. Yeah, I'll put the ID here. Then the public metadata of patient. Okay, great. Okay, so if the patient, we are creating a new patient, then we create account for them. If it's not, then the patient has been created. We just update the public metadata to patient. Okay, so now here I'll just say await DB, DB. So we created the DB connection in our util. So I'll just import it DB dot then type safety, because we have created, our schema or models. So we have patient, all of them. So we have patient dot, then I'll just say create. Okay, great. So what are the various options? So I'll just say data should be equal to, I'll just spread the patient data. Great. And I'll also put the ID as a patient ID. Great, because we have placed the ID here, so put it here. Okay, great. So this should satisfy, and we just have to return success of true, error of false, and a message of patient created successfully or registered successfully. Anyone? Okay, great. So here, now let's go back to our form, which is here. And inside this submit handler, okay, so here, I'll first set loading to true. Okay, then I'll check type equal to create. If it's equal to create, then I'll just say await create new patient. Great, from our server action here, right? So import that, and now we have to pass in the values. So I'll pass in values. Great. And else, okay, I'm just gonna put now for now. And okay, yeah, I think it takes two parameters. So I need to put the other one, which is user ID. Did we get the user ID? Okay, so I think here I can just say const user ID should be equal to user.id. Okay, so since we have this user, right, I think we can get the ID like that. Okay, then I'll just pass the user ID here. Okay, so I'll put this to ensure that it exists. Okay, great. Okay, so once the registration is successful, we'll just use if. Okay, first let me set this to loading to false. So I think I can even say that const res should be equal to this. So if response dot success exists, meaning it's successful. Now we can just break the toast. So toast from Sona dot success. Great. Then we'll just put the message. It is MSG. Great. And now we have to also reset the form reset. Then we'll use the router that we have to push to /. Okay. Okay, great. So else if error, so if it's not successful, meaning we just console log res.msg, that is the message, right? Oh, okay, we can console log all this and give a toast of error that failed while creating new patient. I think that's cool. Okay, so let's try it and see. So first I want to reload. Okay, and I also want to open my terminal, make sure I also have px Prisma Studio. Okay, great. So let's go here. Now we have this. So I'll put the name. Okay, email, mail, any date. I'll just put any contact. Address. I'll just be selecting anything. Okay, so let's select all of these things, and I'll just click OK. So I'll put undo. Okay, put, and let's hope it goes through. Okay, so we have patient great successfully control. Okay, and the reason we are redirected back to the registration page again is that in here, no, I think it's here, we're saying that if the data does not exist, right? So we redirect. Okay, so let's check. Patient, great. Let's see if it exists. Great, so we have one patient in our database. Great job. And let's also go to our Clerk and check if the metadata is set. Okay, so users, and okay, this is it. And okay, great, we also have it here, patient set. Okay, great. So, okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. So in our next one, we will now work on the patient dashboard, right? We'll fetch the information and work on the dashboard. See you. Bye.